Have you ever stopped to wonder why, if we're supposedly made of 99% empty space, your hand does not just phase through a wall like a cheap special effect? Or why you have not pulled a disappearing act and slipped right through the floor into the Earth's molten core, even though there's a literal canyon of nothingness between your atoms and the floorboards? Brace yourself, because the answer is a total gut punch to your common sense. The truth is, everything you think you know about touch is a grand, high-stakes hallucination. In reality, you have never in your entire life actually touched a single thing. Not your dog, not your phone, not even your high school sweetheart. Richard Feynman, a man who had zero patience for watered-down science, called this the ultimate bait and switch of human perception. Right now, you are not sitting on a chair. You are levitating above it on an invisible cushion of violent electric sparks and quantum red tape. You are trapped in a state of permanent near miss, separated from the world by an unbreakable barrier. It's time to take your common sense and toss it in the trash. We're going to crack open the source code of reality and find out why this infinite void is the only thing keeping you from detonating like a supernova. Let's be real. You are nothing more than incredibly ambitious dust. To wrap your head around just how much of a ghost you really are, we need to look at the atom, but forget that cherry with marbles diagram from your 7th grade textbook. That thing is a lie. A real atom is a monument to social distancing. Think of it this way. If the nucleus of an atom were a marble sitting at the 50-yard line of a massive NFL stadium, the electrons would not be on the field. They'd be buzzing around the nosebleed seats or out in the parking lot half a mile away. Everything in between, that's not air. It's a screaming, ringing void. Pure, unadulterated vacuum. If you took every human being on this planet, all 8 billion of us with our egos, our skyscrapers, and our Netflix queues, and squeezed out all that empty space, the entire human race would fit inside a single apple. Seriously, one piece of fruit. But here's the kicker. That apple would weigh billions of tons. You are a masterpiece of architectural emptiness. You're a ghost that's managed to convince itself it is sturdy. Every time you slam your fist on a table, you're just crashing one void into another. Matter is not solid. It's just very, very well defended. So, if you're basically a glorified screen door, why do not you fall through the floor? Feynman famously hated Brienne, cheating with metaphors. He'd tell you to stop imagining atoms like tiny billiard balls or thinking they're held together by invisible rubber bands. That's a load of garbage. The elasticity of a rubber band is just a macro-scale result of the same forces we're trying to explain. It's turtles all the way down. Your hand does not pass through a table because the outer borders of your atoms are negative charge electron clouds. And in this universe, like charges hate each other with a primal white-hot intensity. This is Coulombic repulsion. When you try to close the gap, your electrons and the table's electrons start a frantic, non-contact brawl. They're shooting virtual photons back and forth like heated insults pushing each other away. You do not feel the object. You feel the raw fury of the electromagnetic field telling you to back off. You are floating in a state of perpetual quantum levitation. You can close the gap to a nanometer, but the keep out sign is written into the laws of physics. But electricity is not the whole story. If it were just about charges, a strong enough squeeze should be able to mash atoms together. This is where the universe brings in the heavy hitters. The Pauli exclusion principle. Electrons are fermions, the ultimate introverts of the particle world. They have one ironclad rule. No two fermions can occupy the same quantum period. End of story. When you sit on a chair and your body weight tries to mash your atoms into the seat's atoms, you're essentially trying to steal someone else's reserved seat at a sold-out show. The universe issues a hard no. To occupy that space, your electrons would have to jump to energy levels so high it would require a cosmic power bill you cannot pay. This creates degeneracy pressure. And this is not some niche lab trivia. This is the same force that stops white dwarf stars from collapsing into black holes under the weight of an entire sun. You are literally sitting on the same force that holds up the stars. Your solidity is a mathematical band enforced by the fabric of reality itself. If we never touch the world, does that mean we're doomed to be isolated in our electric bubbles? This is where it gets spooky. Physics says touch is a no-go. But entanglement is a different beast entirely. Billions of years ago, every particle in the universe was crammed into a single, infinitely dense point. And even now, with light years between us, those particles can still feel each other instantly. It's the ultimate cosmic irony. You cannot physically touch the person standing next to you because of your electromagnetic shields. Your atoms will never merge, but on a quantum level, your particles might be inextricably linked to an atom on the far side of the Andromeda galaxy. We live in a world where physical proximity is a phantom, but true connection happens where space and time do not even matter. You are alone in your electric prison, but you are stitched into the tapestry of the cosmos so deeply that no amount of void can rip you out. Your loneliness is just as much of a hallucination as your toughness. If there's no contact, where does the pain come from? Why does a cat feel soft or a fire feel hot? Feynman loved to point out that for physics, sight and touch are essentially the same thing. Seeing is catching photons with your eyes. Touching is catching electromagnetic repulsion with your skin. Your sense of touch is just a biological UI, a translator that turns the language of the void into the language of electric jolts. When that electromagnetic shield pushes back on your fingers, it deforms the membranes of your nerve endings. Inside those membranes, acting like sentries, are proteins called piezo 2 ion channels. Under the mechanical stress of those fields, they stretch and pop open like floodgates, letting in a rush of sodium and calcium ions. Your brain is locked in the pitch-black basement of your skull. It has never seen the world and it has never touched it. It just receives dry, encrypted reports about membrane deformation. To keep you from losing your mind at the realization that you're just a data packet in a vacuum, your brain colorizes these signals into sensations of warmth, pain, or smoothness. Your reality is a sim world generated by your receptors. Touch is not reality. It's a user-friendly skin designed to keep you from glitching out. And here's the grand finale, the twist that makes the whole no-touch policy worth it. The universe did not ban touch to be a jerk. It did it to save your life. What if we actually broke the rules? What if you applied enough raw energy to smash through the Coulomb barrier and forced two nuclei to actually, for real, touch? The rules of the game change instantly. At a distance of 1 femtometer, the strong nuclear force takes over. It's 100 times more powerful than electromagnetism. It yanks those nuclei together with a violence you cannot fathom. This is nuclear fusion, the same process that powers the sun. If that invisible shield of repulsion and poly-red tape did not exist, every handshake, every hug, or every step you took would trigger a localized thermonuclear explosion. Your atoms and your friend's atoms would simply merge, converting a tiny fraction of your mass into a gargantuan amount of pure energy. You would vaporize cities just by walking to the fridge. The illusion of solid for solid vapor. The matter is the premium you pay for the privilege of existing in a stable world. This infinite canyon of nothingness is your only bulletproof vest. You've never touched a thing, and that's the only reason you're still breathing. You can go to bed tonight knowing the world beneath you is not solid. It's a roaring ocean of fields. But as long as those fields hate each other, you're safe. Enjoy the levitation.